Alright, hello everybody. Sorry you probably heard a bunch of squeaking in the background and whatnot. Welcome to today's impromptu Microsoft Flight Simulator live stream. I'm your host, pilot, lead singer, and driver of this airplane today. Last night, this was the flight that nearly did me in. It did me in... Let's see, I tried this plane twice. I tried the Vertigo, and then I finally did it in the DC-3. So we're going to complete yesterday's daily short in this flight, in this plane. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and spawn in here. I don't expect there's going to be a lot of people in today. This was a completely unannounced, unexpected sort of situation. What I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close off these cowl flaps. I'm going to leave them a little bit open, but not too terribly much, because I think that's going to help with getting off the ground. I'm going to raise the flaps just a little, at least. This plane does have flaps, so we're going to go to about 5-degree flaps. And I think otherwise we're okay to go. Where's my... Not the floor light, I want the panel lights. Where did my panel lights go? There they are. Alright. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to take off from here. We're going to kind of loop out and around and then get back on track. We're going to come in at here. We're going to land on runway 21 today. Last night I did it on runway 3, but we'll see what happens today. But we're going to go for 21 today. Alright, let's go. Come on and say hi if you're here. If not, that's quite alright. Oh, I've got to check to make sure I got enough fuel in the tank. I want to add a little bit in just to be safe. Yeah, alright. That's not a problem. We'll go. Let's go 65 just to have a little extra in the tank. Oops. Alright, here we go. Yeah, this was a really horrendous flight yesterday. Did it in a Stearman. Oh, that's right, I did it in a Stearman. It was like 5 times I tried it. Almost got to the airport and then the Stearman just quit on me. Don't know why, but it did. You can tell in this area in particular, there is a lot of wind here that really messes with you. We're on our way. So we're gonna come out this way a little bit more. Probably get that one last bit of flaps up. On whether or not I should stream this. This might not end well, but I think it will. I think today's weather, it's one of those learning situations, I think, that sometimes the weather is not going to be your friend in this game, in this sim. And if you...
Salt Lake Center, Antonov Hotel Alpha Papa Oscar Delta is type Antonov 2 miles west of Kilo Delta Uniform Bravo 8,000 feet. Request flight following.
Antonov Hotel Alpha Papa Oscar Delta Salt Lake Center. Squawk 0304.
Squawk 0304 Antonov Papa Oscar Delta.
Antonov Papa Oscar Delta radar contact 2 miles northwest of Kilo Delta Uniform Bravo 8,100 feet. Altimeter 29.80.
Use this.
Roger, Antonov Papa Oscar Delta.
There's our departure airport there to the right. Get this nose under control here. I don't want to climb too steep of an angle, otherwise I'm going to lose all my airspeed, and that's not going to go too well. This plane does not have an autopilot system that I know of. That's okay, we're going to hand fly it the whole way to Casper, Wyoming. I did not put in the route in the Nightbot, so if anybody uses that. We're in the KCPR runway 21 is the preferred runway today, it seems. Outside. Big old biplane. Now last night when I did this in the DC-3, this whole area was just, it was socked in, it was raining, it was hard to see anything. Like I just took my chances climbing it. Once I got going this way, I put it on autopilot and was able to climb to 10,000 feet. And then finally the weather cleared up, but it was that flight really tested me yesterday. It made me feel stupid, I'm not gonna lie. It really did. Everybody's having a good Wednesday. I think honestly, with the way the weather was last night, I wouldn't have expected that any normal flight would have been able to fly out of there. Like I think they would have shut the airport down for safety reasons. It was that bad, I think. About an hour flight. Got a couple lurkers. Hello, lurkers. Come in and say hi. It's okay. It's all good. Be scared. Joseph, are you lurking? I know you're lurking, Joseph. Come on, say hi, Joseph. Oh, Pulse. Hello, Pulse. How are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, this was this one was a challenge last night. I was so frustrated. I couldn't believe I get all the way to Casper finally. Turn it on final and the plane just gave up on me. And yeah, I was so frustrated. But I think we're gonna make it today. I did last night in the DC-3 finally. I had to have another go because I was like so disappointed with the outcome of the other flights that I had to give it another shot. And so I thought, well, let me I can make this work. And so far it has been working. This is a big biplane, the Antonov AN2. That's our plane of choice today. I am cause I'm eating. You are what, lurking because you're eating? Hello, Bex. Thanks for letting me know that you're eating. TMI, Bex, TMI. Well, when I saw Mick saying that he was canceling tonight's stream with on No Man's Sky, I thought, well, I'll do this and see if I can repeat or get some better success than yesterday. Yesterday was just, it was one of those challenging moments. Not too happy with the, well, I'm not happy that I got frustrated with it, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, lurking, okay, thank you. Lurk away, Bex, lurk away. At least it's a couple days closer to the weekend now. Halfway there. Yeah, this was just a very frustrating. But anyway, enough about that. I think I've pretty much resolved my my disappointment, so with the flight. Went back to the my new gym. I went and signed my paperwork today. Did the tour Monday morning. I think I'm going to start. They have a pool exercise program that I think will work out very well for me. No pun intended. Workout. They have exercises in the pool. They have what else do they have? They have weight room. You know, all the gonna keep you on in the background for the duration. Hope you have a good flight. Thank you, boss. Appreciate it. So yeah, I did that today. That was a good good experience. Really enjoyed it. Got there a little bit early. Did my paperwork. Got my little key fob thing to you got to scan in. They mainly train Paralympic athletes. They're getting ready for the Paralympic rugby team to do their practice sessions and also selection for the new team for the Paralympics. And so yeah, it's a very, very nice facility. But it's the state of Alabama pays them. They just approved the budget for 2026 for veterans to come and use it at no cost. If you want a personal trainer and all that, then of course it'll cost. You got to pay out of pocket, but I think but the classes, you just show up and you just join in and go through it. So I'm gonna do that, I think, starting Monday. We're gonna try to go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But the pool is like 95 degrees in the water, so it'll really help my elbow kind of get that joint loosened up and all that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, it's just no other like the YMCA that I was going to doesn't offer any of that. It's just, you kind of just have to show up and do your own thing, and nobody kind of gives you, you know, I can schedule an appointment with a trainer to kind of get some kind of an idea, come up with some kind of plan. But I think if I just do the aquatic stuff in the nice hot pool, I think that's gonna do me some wonders. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see, is there anything else I need to? I was really hoping they were going to have like a sauna as well, but they don't. They do have like stuff like frisbee golf. They have an indoor archery range. All you have to do is just show up and just tell them you want to do some archery. And they'll be like, okay, here's some equipment. There's the targets. And, I haven't done archery in ages. I had an archery class actually when I was in high school, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like one of them fancy hunting bows or anything like that. It was just a basic, kind of plastic. Maybe, I don't know what it was made of, but it was, the school district probably bought them in bulk. But anyway. So what you eating, Bex? Anything good? Or are you just having a plate of ketchup? Outside of the plane here. Not doing too fast. Kind of cruising along here. There's our plane. I think I've shown it a couple times, but just in case anybody hasn't seen it. It was cottage pie. What's in a cottage pie? I think you've told me before, but I don't remember. So it was. So it's in your tummy. You've engulfed it. Is what you're saying. You've inhaled that pie, didn't you? Is that one of those like with mincemeat or something like that? Those things. How much ketchup did you put on the pie, Max? Let's see if the info thingy is working. It's minced beef with a sauce with veg, then mashed potato. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Which you added ketchup to. How much ketchup did you put on top of that, Bex? Well, that's one meal that doesn't need ketchup. Oh, okay. Almost everything with ketchup on it. At least that's the understanding I had, but I could be wrong. So we're in Wyoming, basically. Very mountainous areas here. Pretty high up in elevation. Let's look at our landing stuff. Let's see. 2-1 charts approach. 2-1 has what's going on here then? Well, this is the flight that I was doing last night with Kev that I took off in this plane exactly. Couldn't get any airspeed to get off the ground. This is the AN2, big old biplane.
Antonov Papa Oscar Delta contact, Salt Lake Center on 133
and then I tried the Stearman was turning towards final, and the engine just quit on me, and I still had plenty of fuel left, so it wasn't the fuel issue. Then that's when I gave up with Kev. Thought, okay, let me try the Vertigo. The wind was so bad last night that on the ground that Vertigo just got pushed everywhere. So I'm like, okay, let me try the DC-3 because that's a pretty substantial sized plane. That plane got pushed off the runway as I was trying to take off. I barely made it off the ground. Luckily, I didn't crash as I got in the air, and it was just a mess. So but I made it. But my landing really wasn't all that great either. It was a terrible night of flying, to be honest. So I thought, well, I'm going to try this one again. And then when you said you weren't going to stream, I thought, well, I'll just throw on a little stream for an hour or so, just redo this flight, and here we are. So we're on our way in this big old biplane that does actually have flaps. So we're going to be able to slow down when we come in for landing like we normally would with almost any other plane. The thing that we have to be aware of, though, is the wind. Right now, on runway 21, there's a 12-knot headwind, which is okay, and a 4-knot crosswind. Last night, it was much higher than that. So it was quite the challenge all around. Sorry you're not doing so well, Mick. Hopefully you can kind of just sit back and relax and enjoy the flight as we make our way through the clouds here. Oh, pilot's flying through the clouds again. It's a jerk. So, yeah. Bex was telling me about her dinner. Her cottage pie. So I just figured I'd stream just to kind of have hopefully a chilled evening. It's afternoon here for me. It's almost 1 o'clock. So I'm just gonna make our way to Casper, Wyoming. Yeah, I can understand that. I tell you, I wish I could fly you over real quick. I think you would. The place I went to today, they have this heated pool for exercises. But I'm sure if you just get in there, you can. They have an area where you can sit, and they've got like the jet thing, the massage jets in the wall built in there. Yeah, I'm sure you would just be like, oh yeah, I'd like to just soak in that hot pool for about an hour. That'd probably help with that pain. So yeah, it's they even got one of those chairs. If you're having trouble like walking down the steps or whatever into the pool, they can put you on one of those chairs and just lower you right into the pool. I think I need to get some of those water socks or water shoes or something to wear just for some grip, you know, in the pool while I'm doing the exercises. I might try to get over to the sporting goods place in town here. I think they got some that I can try on or something. I think they have those. Yeah, I need something for the grip, I think, in the pool, so I don't slip and make an idiot of myself. I already did that once and it wasn't very good. I don't need another broken joint. Thank you all for coming in and hanging out on this impromptu stream. Let's see now how farther we got to go. Just about 100, just under 100 nautical miles to go. see if we can improve our landing rate from last night. Let's see roughly where we are right now. We are right here. We're not quite halfway yet. A little higher than I was the other day. But of course that's because I have autopilot and I just plugged in the altitude and leveled off at 10,000 feet. Let's see if okay. This looks like it's got the signal. I'm just trying to see if there's something that shows the direction. I think. No, it's not. 267 down to 267. We're flying roughly to the east. This. Switch. Well, we'll do the old fly over the airport and come back around and line up on 2-1. We'll be back Saturday in the DC-3. Let's see, where are we going? To Swaziland? Yep. Maybe we'll be in Africa again. Matter of fact, yesterday's medium flight was the same one we did on Saturday. I told Kev, I was like, you're not going to believe this, but he's like, actually, I believe it. Climbing too much higher. Yeah, this was just a... Figured we'd do something a little bit different. I was really looking forward to the science stuff tonight, but I can understand Mick Back's stuff's powered. It's not like by hydraulics or whatever. Interesting. About 46 minutes left. I think we're in an area that's a little bit lower now. We're mostly out of the high mountainous areas there, kind of in this valley. We are right there. So we're about halfway there. You hear that clicking? That's the trim. It doesn't have the wheel. Most of the planes I fly in do. It's got like a little switch. You hold it one way to go nose up and the other way for nose down. An awful pain. Yeah. See, one of the things I remember as a medic was that after a while your body learns how to tolerate the pain. And well, not so much the pain, but the painkillers. The body's just kind of like, yeah, nah, this not really doing nothing for me. And the hard part is most people start to seek out more powerful medications, and that's not a good thing. Hey Tenshel, how are you? But that's, your body is like, you want to numb the pain, but you end up getting addicted to stuff, and that's a lot of people got addicted to the heavy painkillers. They needed that fix. Doing a clean Windows reinstall. Yeah, pretty good for the most part, I'd say. Just redoing this flight. I was flying with Kevin last night. Just had a heck of a time with this flight, but I think it wasn't to pilot error necessarily. It was due to the weather causing pilot errors. So yeah, I was a bit frustrated last night. Not my best moments, of course, but yeah, we're just having a nice. Well, at least it's a more relaxed flight today. And 81 nautical miles to go, about just under 40 minutes left. No, it wasn't just a landing. It was just, first it was taking off, and then on my third attempt, finally got going. I was in the steerman. We have this propensity to pick planes that probably are not the best choices for the flight. Especially with the weather. When you don't pay attention to the weather, it's gonna come back to bite you eventually. And that's exactly, for whatever reason, we finally made it to Casper. I was turning in on final, and then the engine just quit. And my fuel tanks were full. There's no fuel switch in that steerman that says switch over from one tank to another, at least not that I could find, before the plane just went nose right into the ground. And it was just a bad experience overall. I was able to finally do it last night in the DC-3, but my landing rate was not really it wasn't what I was hoping for. There was a big gust that came in, and of course, I knew better, but I did it anyway. I came in with full flaps, and then there was a gust, and it was like I hit a wall of air, and the plane just came down much quicker than I wanted it to. I couldn't. It was like I was fighting against it, and just, yeah, it was not a good night. But I mean, I made it, but I wasn't happy with it. You know. So we're just doing this for the fun of it, mainly. But also to validate the thought process that it wasn't necessarily it wasn't pilot error, except, well, the landing was an error of my own making as far as the landing rate went, but the rest of it, the wind and everything, was just, it was atrocious. Like, it was bad enough when we took off from K-Dub, the wind was strong enough, it pushed the DC-3 off the runway. Like, I could not keep it on the runway at all. There was really a terrible crosswind that just, it didn't seem like no matter what I did, I could not keep that thing lined up. So, yeah. So we're just flying in the AN2, and this is the plane I wanted to take last night. So we're doing it today, and I just figured I'd do a stream on it, just for fun. Nothing serious. All that good stuff. Thanks for popping in, Tension. Good to see you. Yeah, it is. I think it was just last night's weather was just bad, and we, picking planes that don't, even, like, I thought, okay, the DC-3, there shouldn't be an issue, right? I thought for sure it would be pretty much a straightforward flight, but no, it took me a lot of effort to get that thing off the ground, and so it was just, it was a struggle. The whole thing was just, but it was more down to the weather and just not thinking things through as far as what is more important. We should pick a plane if we look at the weather and go like, okay, there's some really terrible wind, right? If we fly in a little biplane, that wind is going to affect it. Like, it's going to be terrible. It's not going to be an easy flight. I mean, I was basically flying like I am right now the entire time last night. I very rarely went outside to look at the plane or show off anything outside, which is what Kev likes to do. I don't like to fly outside for any longer than necessary unless I'm on autopilot, because then I can kind of take my hands off and I know the plane's going to basically keep flying towards where I want it to. And so it was just a real challenge keeping it straight, going in a straight line, or as close to straight as possible. The wind was just pushing you one way or the other. In the end, it wasn't a smart choice as far as planes went for that flight last night. And that's why I thought, okay, the DC-3, I think I can do it in that. And I did, but it was still, it was more of a challenge than I expected. Every plane, I look at it like this, and some people may agree with me and some people may not, and that's okay. It's just an opinion more than anything. But every plane's like a tool in the toolbox, and you want to pick the best tool for the job. It's just that sometimes, even if you think you're picking the best tool, like I thought when I picked the DC-3, even that wasn't a good enough tool to use, good enough plane to use on takeoff, especially. Now landing that's a different story. That's more on me than it is the plane itself. But the plane was affected by the weather, and on the landing I should have known better. So that's what I'm saying, it's on me. But the takeoff was just like you're just like, I don't get it. Like, why I can't get enough speed going. It's just you're just pushed all over the place. It was a mess. And I would think in real life, with that weather the way it was yesterday, I'm sure all flights would have been canceled, because it would have been too dangerous for anybody to take off with that wind, because the crosswind was so strong that it would have been almost impossible to keep the plane going down the runway to get enough speed to get in the air, I think. I don't know. I'm surprised I was able to do it in the DC-3, to be honest. But it was quite a challenge. Like, I was basically on the grass the runway was to my left, and I was on the grass to the right. And I'm just like, well, I'm just going to try to get this thing up in the air. But I couldn't see, like, the mountainous area around it was all hidden in clouds and rain. So I'm like, oh great, now I'm going to probably crash into something, and that's going to be it. So yeah, anyway, all right, we are how far out? 64. I know pretty soon I should be able to talk to, I think right about here I should be able to talk to Casper. And let's go ahead and get them. No? Not yet. Oh, alright. Maybe a little bit closer. But we'll make it one way or the other. But it's really about learning from the mistakes, I think. It's hard to, I think, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about people I fly with on streams or whatever. It's hard to find something that makes sense, that fits within their schedule. We want to do this amount of time for a stream. Okay, well, we're not considering things like the weather. Now, if you don't care about that and you think it's funny that, okay, people are going to crash and we're not going to complete the flight, well, okay, that's fair enough. That's on you if that's what you want to do. I prefer to make the flight from beginning to end, but it's hard sometimes when, if somebody says, well, I've only got this amount of time to do the flight. Okay, well, let's be practical about what's more important, but I try to be sensible with Kev, for instance. And again, I'm not trying to say anything about anybody in a negative way. It's just, I have to, when I'm joining somebody else's stream, I have to be practical about it. What are their streaming goals, for instance? How much time do they have? So even if I want to pick something faster, and I could always do the catch up, you know, to everybody else if I have a faster plane. But so, anyways. Yeah, I thought about that too, but to me, like when I first started in the sim, I turned the live weather off. I just flew in sunny skies or maybe a few clouds, but there wasn't a lot of wind. You didn't have to really worry about your altimeter readings or anything like that. I think that works when you're new, just so that you can kind of get your, you know, feel for things. But it's not. You're kind of cheating yourself out of it. I thought about that last night. I thought, you know, when I took off in the Stearman, I probably could have just put on, you know, clear weather, no hassles, and just took off and then put the live weather on. You know, once I got up in the air and, you know, could navigate fairly easily. But that's not how it works in the real world. And I get it with the sim, we can kind of game the system, so to speak. But I'm more like, my thing is I like to learn from my mistakes. You know, if it's something that I did wrong, like the landing, if I can learn from that, that's the best thing for me. When you don't learn from it in any way, shape, or form, then it's to me, it's like the whole thing is lost. You know, I prefer to, you know, learn from the whole thing. That's the for me, that's always been the goal, is to learn from it. But it's also, for me, it's a way I have to learn how to control my, I guess in a way, my anger, my disappointment with how things went. You know, I've tried to be more accepting. If my landing rate is kind of like, okay, well, it was a good flight anyway. It was scenery, you know, nice and scenic or whatever, stuff like that. I can kind of just go like, I'm not really worried about the landing rate, but I was more disappointed that I didn't learn lessons that I should have learned from prior flights, with the use of the flaps and the wind and all that kind of stuff. It's always easy. Oh, I'm just going to drop all the flaps and it's okay. It'll be fine. I'll make it on the ground nice and safe. So, you know, I try to improve, you know, and that includes takeoffs, you know. And I thought about it. It kind of weighed on my mind. Was there something I could have done differently? You know, one of my biggest faults probably is I analyze stuff way too much, and that's what I did. I kept thinking, okay, is there anything I could have done differently on takeoff? If the answer's no, then okay, well, then fair enough. The answer's no, and it is what it is, you know. But if there's a way that I could have improved, could I try to add more rudder? Was there just was there no solution to the problem even? You know, sometimes that's the reality of it. There's no solution. All right, now we should be able to talk to Casper. I think we're close enough now.
Casper Tower Antonov Hotel Alpha Papa Oscar Delta is 50 miles west 9,100 feet with Sierra to land.
Antonov Hotel Alpha Papa Oscar Delta Casper Tower. Altimeter 29.64, wind 228 at 1 tree. Enter left traffic runway 21.
Make left traffic runway 21 Antonov Papa Oscar Delta.
there we go. So we've been descending a little bit. I'm gonna put the nose down a little bit more and drop some more altitude here. See, look at all that wind. The little bumps in the road. So this will work out perfectly. The ads will play, and then we'll do, by the time that's over with, we should be you might have to mute it because it'll probably start up again just as I'm getting ready to approach the airport. Adding time now. Come on. Yeah, we'll be back next Saturday, or this Saturday, not next, we'll be back next Saturday too. This coming Saturday, DC-3 will be in taking off and heading to an airport in Swaziland to pick up that country flag. Then the following Saturday, that'll be Memorial Day weekend, we're doing a flight from Dallas Love to Reagan National in the 737-800. Lovely Southwest Airlines livery for our Memorial Day flight, and then we'll end the month back in the DC-3. We'll be in Saudi Arabia heading towards Kuwait. Going to do the reverse flight. When I was in Saudi Arabia in '91, we left Kuwait International sorry state that it was in, and flew back to Saudi Arabia. It was a quick flight in a C-130. We'll do it in the DC-3. I don't think that flight will take very long. The helicopter stuff may have to wait till after I get back from Flight Sim Expo. Might have to change that flight in early June to something else. I also still need to get some practice in the Concorde. Still got a bit of ways to go here. What I wanted to send too much more. The airport's like at 5,000 some odd feet. Let's see. 5,344. So I know we got to be at least up between 7,000 and 8,000 feet. Then we can drop altitude as we get closer. We'll line up on final. Big valley here. We took off in this mountainous area back here. See, if we'd taken off of the opposite end going this way, it would have been an easier time, but I took off and you just kind of have to circle around in this very narrowish area. And of course, if it's windy, that doesn't help because the wind's coming off those mountains and whatnot. It just makes things a heck of a lot harder, but we're going to make it today. We're doing just fine. This is probably one of those airports that if you're coming in for landing, it's probably going to be a very bumpy landing. You know, you're probably going to get bumped around everywhere in the air with all the turbulence and whatnot. Excuse me. Try to go to bed early tonight. I'm tired. I was up way too early this morning. Is over kind of where we want to be, actually. Joseph must be having his dinner. Mick, are you still here? Did that? I know I posted in the in your Discord. I just want to, or if Pulse is still here, that it came up okay. The link worked and all that. Okay. The post in the Discord, did the link work okay? Do you know? Did it take you right to my channel? Watch the stream. Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you. All right, let's get some cow flaps open. There we are. Just use those kind of start off with to help slow the plane down. We're ready to do all that. Goes in the front. There's those flaps that are open. Also got wing flaps. Alright, there's where Flint is. That's one of the runways. Oh boy. I had one of my signature sandwiches for lunch earlier. I was gonna go by the grocery store today and get some onions and tomatoes and all that. But, that didn't work out. That's okay. Oh, it's called the Rob. It's got 2 slices of smoked turkey, thinly sliced smoked turkey, and then slices of Genoa salami, some mustard of your choice, and provolone cheese on your choice of bread. I prefer sourdough. But it's called the Rob. If you put horseradish on it, it's called the Mick. The Rob Supreme has tomatoes, onions, and lettuce. And yes, I had the Coleman's mustard, Mick. Just a little bit, not a lot. Just enough to... I put it right on the salami, and it just... Between the salami and the provolone, it gives them both just a bit more flavor. It's good stuff. Airport's there in front of us. Should be it. Fly over and then we'll turn around and put it on the ground here shortly. Come on. Got it. Oop, up. We have the best viewers already. Thank you for your concern. We worked hard to get our viewers. Hard work pays off. We buy our viewers. All right. And yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say now. All right. Here's our airport. Let's try a little bit this way. Try to fly over it. Somebody's on the ground there. It appears. A little bit of flat our airport, just kind of in the off to the left there. For the longer the tube runway, which is runway 3 and 21. Let's see where we are now. So it looks like we're coming in. We'll fly kind of near 8 and 3. So our runway is way up that way. There. We're coming over 8, looks like right now. Yep. So our runway is right off the left wing tip there. 3 is right there. All right. The ads are good. Well, wait till alright, let's go ahead and get a little more flat down. Should be about good enough.
Antonov Papa Oscar, Delta Wind 171 at 7. Cleared to land runway 21.
Cleared to land runway 21, Antonov Papa Oscar Delta.
So that's a crosswind now. No, the wind changed on us again. It seems like right here. At least it looks like an airport. I could be wrong. it certainly could be confused as an airport. All right, we'll just use the. Yeah, look at that. It would certainly confuse me for an airport. The way the streets are laid out. All right, here we go. That's okay.
Papa Oscar Delta, turn next taxiway.
Much better than last night. At least they didn't scream. Oh boy.
Papa Oscar Delta, turn next taxiway.
Yeah, I'll get there, bucko. Trust me. That was a 44. Way better than last night. Way better than last night.
Papa Oscar Delta contact ground.
Well, that wind was gonna challenge me again.
Going to 121.9er Antonov Papa Oscar Delta. Casper ground Antonov Hotel Alpha Papa Oscar Delta, request taxi to parking.
Antonov Hotel Alpha Papa Oscar Delta, taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Alpha.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha Antonov Papa Oscar Delta.
Let's get a picture here for. Turn that off. Let's get a picture. There we go, I like that. And let's get, oh, we gotta get a picture of the landing rate. Totally redeemed myself. I'll take that 44. That was way better than last night, that is for sure. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed that one. This isn't a bad plane to fly. It's got its quirks. Like, you don't expect a biplane to have flaps for sure. But it's I quite like it. This of course has the Garmin system in it. But it doesn't have an autopilot that I can find. I don't believe it does. I look, you hover over all the switches and whatnot, and it doesn't have any kind of autopilot system. But last night they made me park over here in the fuel stand. Oh, I'm glad that's over with. Yeah, it was really the weather and with a small dose of pilot error mixed in there. But it was really down to the weather yesterday. It was terrible. This poor plane. It doesn't know what it's trying to do. Really leaning to one side. Notice that? wrap things up here before the ads start. Thank you all again for coming in and hanging out. We'll be back Saturday, normal time, 8 Central, 9 Eastern, 2 o'clock UK time in the DC3, Swaziland. You join us for that. I think Kev's going to be flying with me again. I think. So do join us for that. All pilots are welcome, of course. So that'll do for today. Thank you all. An hour 23. There we go. Another flight in the bag. There we go. That's what I like. Cheers for that. Need that, mate. Yeah, no problem. Glad to do that. I'm glad it was a nice, relaxing stream. Kind of take your mind off things. So let me get out of here before the ads start. Do enjoy the rest of your Wednesday afternoon, evening, Thursday for some folks already around the world. I have been and always shall be your host, pilot, lead singer, and driver of the airplane, Uncle B. Until Saturday. Peace. Live long and prosper.